Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel. Now today is a bit of a crazy one because we're going to be taking 7 if not 8 of the cars that are currently here at the Shmuseum over to Petrolheadonism Underground in Wembley to meet with many of you guys, but it's also a day where I guess I've got a bit of a news update for you, if you will, because I'm going to be selling one of the big cars from the garage. One of the Big Shmeemobiles is going to be leaving. Today I'll give you a little bit of a clue and hint and teaser and what that's going to be, but something, let's say, of significant value, something that certainly carries some heavy weight, something I won't want to be saying farewell to, but let's get to that a little bit later on. For now, as I said, we're going to be taking a few of the cars over. In fact, I think on run one, the plan is to take the Senna, to take the Shelby GT500, and also to take Max's Jag XJ220S. So we're going to be taking some of those out. That will be being transported. Then we're going to be back because the STO is going, the SLS Black Series is going, and I can't even think what else is going. Then we've got the GT8 and the Clio V6. So it's all sorts of chaos while we try and work out how this is actually going to come together. Oh, the Emira is going to go as well. All of the new Shmeemobiles, effectively. So since Petrolheadonism Live at Nebworth last year, where we took about 10 of the cars, I think all of those are kind of new. And the hope, fingers crossed, is that the Zenvo is arriving back, having been to the factory from Germany tonight to make the event as well. So we're going to see if that all comes together as I have it in my mind at the moment. There's a lot going on, and as I said, something is soon to be heading out. I've grabbed some keys. We have the XJ220S, we've got the Senna, we've got the GT500, but that is going to be first up. There's been a lot of moving and making sure the cars are clean, ironically, because it's probably going to be raining today, which isn't going to help our lives either. You can also possibly hear some noise in the background. Big things coming on the build here at the Shmuseum. Big update for you very soon. But first up is going to be this, which we took out for a very quick run yesterday. It's been cleaned up, it's been prepared. It hasn't been out of here for, I guess, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, that kind of thing. So we will get the XJ started up. It's going to be on the Gumball 3000 stand over at Petrolheadonism Underground, but transported today with Tony from Turbo Transport. So he'll be along very shortly. We'll get this out, get it loaded up, and then get ready to go on the road ourselves for the first run, as I said, with the Senna, the GT500, and something else so we can all get back again for run 2 and then run 3 later on. The first thing then is the slightly embarrassing and awkward process of actually climbing into the Jag. Are we good? Yes, because it's a gigantic car without a lot of space inside. I can pretty much squeeze in here, but to anybody a little bit taller than me, oh, it's certainly not the most comfortable in the world. In fact, even my eye line is up to the roof. My hair is touching the roof, and I'm not particularly tall. But let me get this started and we'll take it out. Well, we have one XJ220S loaded into Tony's trailer, which means I need to work out how to squeeze back out of here and go get the next car.
Stay in there.
Yeah, okay, I'll stay here. It is now pouring with rain outside, which is exactly what we don't want when we have nice and clean cars to take to a show. We're going to have to work that one out a little bit later, but for the moment, let's have a GT500 start up, because it's always epic. Oh yeah, and then I'm going to hop into the Senna, so we'll get this started as well, and then take these two out to get this journey started and underway. The weather is definitely not on side for driving a McLaren Senna on Pirelli Trofeo R tyres, which, if you know anything about tyres, are not suited to wet tarmac in the slightest. We are heading a little bit more towards the sunshine, and of course, in this car, I do have to shout because it is so ridiculously loud. McLaren did not exactly install any sound deadening in this thing in the slightest. But hey, I'm not complaining. It's all about the drama, the event. Yes, it's a hard car to really take out and use all that often, and it's very, very, very expensive if you do go and do anything with it, certainly when it comes to maintenance and costs and things like that. But my goodness, is it quite the event. It's just the vibrations, the shaking, the craziness. Now, in theory, somewhere behind me is the Mustang, but I seem to have completely lost it at the moment with the traffic lights as we are heading to Wembley Park. Now, Wembley is, of course, where you have the England football stadium with the arch over the top. I've been many a time to both the old stadium and the new for different games, but today we are joining Chiro and the Petrolheadonism team, who have set up their first event here, akin in a way to Petrolheadonism Live that we did at Nebworth Park last year, where we took all of the cars over, and that was quite the logistics challenge. Today I think is going to be even more of a challenge, thanks to both the weather being rather against us, but also the fact that we have a drive into London with all of the cars that we're bringing, plus a quite unusual support car to get us back home, which is something you haven't yet seen, so that's quite fun as well to stay tuned for in just a moment and have a bit of a sneak peek behind the scenes at the cars arriving today for the event. Gosh, you realise how loud it is inside this thing, but we are making some progress. Into town we go. And one thing you do need to do with this is to go through the different modes. So on the handling control, you do want to rotate it through the settings, comfort, sport and track, just to get the suspension shuffling, to make sure that it kind of uses the hydraulic systems rather than risking anything going effectively dried out and failing as a result of not being used. Nice C63S. We find ourselves behind, oh, and I can see a GT500 in my mirrors. That's good to know that. Schmark 150, Mark is currently driving that as we make our way, just a couple more miles really, into London, around the North Circular and over to Wembley. It is definitely drying up slightly, and I do actually have the aforementioned car right behind me. So what I might do is just pull over a lane to let them shuffle past. No, they've all pulled over a lane right behind me as well at the same time. That didn't work, did it? That backfired completely. Oh well, I'll just take this lane, and I guess everybody wants me to lead today. Okay, here we go. Audi RS4. The new RS4 Competition Plus, in fact. That is from Audi in Germany, as you can see from the Ingolstadt plate, which we will be hopping on board in a moment. GT500 is caught behind with a little bit of traffic now as we head down the hill, but that thing is a bit of a beast. It's a great way for us all to get backwards and forwards on today's errands. Here we go, GT500 at last. Oh my gosh, that colour is bright. The grab a lime of that thing. I don't know if I've actually seen it being driven on the roads in England from another car prior to now. In fact, I'm sure I haven't. It looks like a monster. There is no mistaking it for a normal Mustang. Obviously the iconic Shelby racing stripes, and just the colour scheme of it is, wow, it's out there, it's wild. It's what these things are supposed to be. It's fun. It's a 760 horsepower Mustang from the factory, right? So it needs to be a little bit crazy. The only thing that's not crazy is sitting in a bit of a jam. We have arrived in our space. This is where we're going to be fanning all of the cars out, but obviously they're now a little bit dirty, and the trick here is to try and wipe them down before they've had time to dry when we brought back a few other loads. So we're going to give the cars a bit of a wipe, try and clean off any of the dirt on them, and hopefully they'll look presentable. Fingers crossed. The Senna being the Senna, it just has stones everywhere. Come and have a quick look down here. This is the thing with this car, right? It's actually not very clean down here at all, and it's absolutely filled with stones. All of those. Try and get them out without damaging anything. Obviously we've got PPF, so it's not too bad. Yeah, so we'll do this, and then it'll be time to hop in the RS4 and head back. Reverse of the process. Time to take the Jag out. We're going to go pop this over with my cars for the moment, and there's a gumball stand over on the other side. Carefully does it. A little bit more carefully than I have in the past. Right, climb in, swivel. Ugh, it's so tiny in here. And then, okay.
Are you in?
I'm in. Let's start it. Oh yeah. Turbo Transport just disappears around the corner, off to collect the green 812 Superfast. More on that in a moment. We've got these three all lined up. Mark is kindly just giving the XJ220 a quick wait down, and we are off to go get the next round. This is the RS4 Competition Plus then. Let's have a start up of this. That sounds pretty cool, it's got to be said. Nardo Grey, of course, rides a little bit lower, actually has manually adjustable suspension in this, which is kind of cool, but I'm going to be riding in the back for the moment. We've got the carbon fibre of the bucket seats up front, which are also very cool. So Onwards, let's go. We are back and down comes the SLS Black Series. We're getting ready then for the noisy run with the NAV8, NAV8 and NAV10 STO GT8 SLS Black Series all together. Benpack auto stacker down to the ground. We need to make sure everything's unplugged and ready. I'm going to take the wheel of the Lambo. I haven't really spent much time driving this since we did all of the changes to the appearance. The white wheels at Whoops, the white contrast accent at Dub Customs, but I'm ready to take this out, thankfully, without too much rain at the moment. Venturing back into London then, SLS, GT8 in front, that's not a bad view. And this is a very, very noisy thing. Oh, bit of sun poking through again. Oh, that's so cool to be driving with these. The three very, very, very noisy ones, all out together. In fact, window down. God, the GT8 sounds ridiculous. Oh, this is so cool. Driving with the cars together is always just like the best you get to experience what they look like and what they sound like on the road. Totally different perspective. Oh my gosh. Ears bleeding. This isn't going very well. We have some pretty heavy rain. Oh dear. With a whole load of cars we're going to have to wash off in some form, and we have a traffic jam. This is not going as we want it to go today, but we did kind of know that this was the case, unfortunately. I've got an SLS Black Series behind me. No idea where in front the GT8 is, but I guess at this stage we just kind of have to roll with it, unfortunately, and it will be what it will be. And I tell you what, I did obviously put this car for sale last year, and while I would think about it again, it's so fun to drive it, it's just hilarious. So who knows, maybe it's going to be the one that we talk more about. Oh, I can see the GT8 a few cars ahead, but we'll get to that. We've made it and parked up the next round of cars, which are absolutely filthy. Come in here, come and have a look at the STO. Problem with white accents. Yeah. So Brad has just run to go and get a bucket so that we can throw some water over this, because that's a little bit too much to try and clean with a rag. We have another arrival inside the 812 returns. It's actually been at Ferrari to have a couple of things checked over, but this is actually going to be pulled out and then effectively re-liveried for the Gumball 3000 stand here before it takes part in the next Gumball. So this needs to be unloaded in just a second, but obviously it's been in effectively storage with me for my friend Jordan, Team Skookum, who actually won Spirit of the Gumball with this car, and we drove again alongside this car in my GT500 on the last leg to the finish line in Miami, Toronto to Miami. It's kind of fun that it's here, ready for the livery to be changed over. Wow, that sounds amazing. 6.5 litres of NAV12. Love that engine sound. So good. Right, let's get this unloaded, ready to line up with the others. We now have the 812 in the line, and we're back in the RS4, so let's get this started. I'm impressed by that burble, and we will head back to base with this for the last round. Back at the barn, which is now looking oddly empty, it has to be said. We've popped the Heritage RS down because I think I might take that home later, but we haven't had this few cars here for a fair while. It's actually quite strange, and not only that, we are now about to obviously take the Emira. I'm going to drive the Emira, plus Tom is ready and waiting in the Clio V6. Go on then, start it up, let's get the zing. Oh yeah, what a sound. That is ready to rock and roll. We'll take the RS4 again as well, and then later on, that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars. We'll be down to only, well, 9 cars plus whatever I take, 8, maybe even 7 if I arrange this, because I want to end up with 2 cars out. Gosh, so like I said, I still haven't really got to the point here. Something is going to have to go, something from the big hitters. And when I say big hitters, I'm talking the likes of Senna, Ford GT, Zenvo, SLS Black, GT Black, those kind of cars. That's where we're kind of heading with this. So, Emira time. Let's head this way. Let's get on the road. This is very much deja vu when it's the third time that you're doing the same route in a day. We've got a Ferrari Portofino just a couple of cars ahead of us as well. But one thing that the guys just realized is that we're currently driving with the Lotus Emira, the Clio V6 and the RS4, and they are all V6 engines with different types of induction. This is supercharged, the RS6 is twin turbocharged, and the Clio V6 is naturally aspirated, which is kind of fun. Talking Clio V6 alongside. Oh, that sounds cool. Oh, it's cool to hear the Quicksilver exhaust from outside. I don't think I've really heard it from outside. And then obviously the RS6 with that gearbox, with all of the different noises it makes. So this is also quite a different set of cars. I mean, both the Clio V6 and this are mid-engine, manual, rear-driven. But obviously the RS4, the RS4 is of course a four-wheel drive estate family wagon as we go past the Portofino, which I still think looks amazing. Just Rosso Corsa, silver wheels, super smart, really, really nice car, looks lovely. Great way to just cruise around, great way to just drive. It's raining again, it was always going to happen, wasn't it? Anyway, a little bit of traffic, a little bit of flowing between the lanes to make our way back into Wembley. The task now that we're back is to move everything around. So at the moment, the RS4 is actually the placeholder ready for the Zenvo to arrive, which is going to arrive. There have been some customs issues, basically due to having gone to the factory after being in Germany and then trying to take a ferry from the Hook of Holland to England. The customs authorities in the Netherlands basically said, Brexit, you can't bring the car over. That's been quite the workaround. All of the documents were in line. It's just a thing from the Netherlands to the UK as a result of the vote a couple of years ago. Anyway, it's going to make it here later tonight. It will be a late night arrival. So in the meantime, the RS4 is right here and we're shuffling around everything else. You'll notice the 812 has been de-stickered. The Middle East Rally stickers have come off because this is the new livery for the upcoming year that is now worn by Max's Jag. And I have to say, around the front especially, that's looking awesome. It's a McLaren 570 in the background. Tom's now made it in here, which means startup time. Sweet. So we're going to shuffle that out because that's going to head over to the Gumball stand. And also the 812 will have that livery later on. Literally, McLaren parking up just here. We're opposite AMF, Approved Motor Finance, who of course I've used for many of my cars. They have their Performante over on the other side. But let's guide Tom out of here so that we can try and safely move all the cars around, because this is pretty busy, not going to lie. There's a lot happening right now, lots of people around, and yeah, we'll use our normal Shmuseum garage techniques to pull the Jag out and get it through. We are going to move the Senna. Brad has the honours, so we shuffle this forwards, try and pull it up here next to our imaginary Zenvo. So the angle is going to be something like that here. That's the plan. So I'm going to get him to come forwards and then we will straighten it up. So turn that way. This is the best system if you ever need to move cars. Stop and then straight back. Perfect. Always left, right, straight. Just like that. Back we go. We'll line up the front. Perfect. Done. Just like that. Magic. We're going to pop the car down into race mode. So it always looks slightly cooler when you lower the suspension slightly. So Brad has to press the buttons up on the roof. He knows what to do. And then once it's down, I say he knows what to do. There we go. Race mode. Press and hold to confirm. That's what it says on the screen. Screen folds down. Suspension lowers, and then it just looks absolutely epic once it's down into position. We're now doing the Clio V6, and the funny thing with the Clio V6 is that the turning radius is horrendous. So the amount of like forwards and backwards that you have to do to get that lined up straight is shocking. We've managed though. That will do. That is nicely parked. In fact, they're all nicely parked, creating our little web layout that we have here. Perfect, I would say. We're just going to shuffle the GT500 forwards when the 812 is done in a moment. And this has all turned out very, very nicely. It's time to go again. Just pop some stuff away. Let's have a listen. I feel like we've done that a few times today. But we'll be back a little bit later with the Zenvo. For now, let's return to base. Jump ahead and we're back. And this is kind of weird. It's like we've said goodbye to pretty much all of the cars that are here. I've actually moved the Ford GT to be over on that side where we've got the two Ferraris and the Ford and a couple of the other cars. But this is kind of trippy. We haven't had this much space here at the barn for a very long time, but all preparing for the things to come and the big works in progress over the coming months. It's going to be really, really quite exciting. Anyways, you can probably tell it's into the evening. The Zenvo is actually about to be here. So we're going to hop into one of the cars. We're going to take some of the covers with us for the cars there overnight, and then we're going to go and get it unloaded. It made it here after having to go back to the factory. It's been a mission, but let's go get it. We're back, and bang on cue, the transporter has arrived from Denmark. The Zenvo trailer. That's really cool actually to know that my car is in there. It's very, very exciting. It's actually really fun. So that's going to be driving in to where we now have a whole sea of cars that have arrived for this event. And I guess we drive this in and go get it unloaded. That's amazing. If you've been following my content, you will know that the car had to make an emergency quick visit back to Præstø, the home of Zenvo in Denmark, for a silly thing with the hood latch to make sure it can sit down properly so that we can actually have it on show. And these legends have pulled out all the stops. It is a massive thanks actually to the team over there, to everybody who's been involved in making this come back to fruition so that we can unload it in a second. Opening up, and there it is, reunited, ready for Petrolheadonism Underground. Mission accomplished. We'll get it unloaded in a second and go put it center stage on the stand area. It sounds good in here. Oh, that's cool. Pleased to have it back. Watch as the Lilla Perlamore emerges into the garages of Wembley. This is so cool in here. So around the corner we come, over this way. The color in here is magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Looks lovely. I'm so pleased it's here. How crazy is that? Reunited with the others after its pretty mega trip around Europe, to be honest. It's been on quite the journey, this thing, if you think about it, but now it's back. It's back in action. All parked up then, and you know what, as well as the Zenvo, we also temporarily have the Heritage RS, which I'm going to drive back home with. So that's probably not going to stay here during the event. But we've brought all of the cars over. This is going to be a little bit crazy. It's just a bit sad that, as I've said, something is going to be sold. Something is going to be departing, which I suspect will be a shock to many of you guys. But there are lots of things on the horizon, and things on the horizon mean making changes, making decisions that hopefully I'm not going to live to regret. Anyway, it is unbelievable that this is here. The fact this is here right now is just totally epic. So again, a big thanks to everyone at Zenvo. I'm looking forward to the event that we have ahead with Chiro and the team. In fact, up here we have cars from Rata Rossa, Matt Armstrong, Adam C. Who else can I see? Mark McCann, Tavares, Gumball 3000 cars. You get the point. This is going to be a pretty cool event. I think Auto Alex is around. There's a whole lot happening. So if you've seen this video in time to come down to Petrolheadonism Underground, make sure you do, get your tickets, come by. There's a lot of cool stuff to see. For now though, we are exhausted. It is approaching midnight before it all gets started quite early tomorrow morning, and we've got to get this edited as well. So we will pack up and head on home. Thank you again, as always, for your support. It is hugely appreciated, but that's it for this time, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.